Yo, what is up guys, Ghost here, welcome back to Stormgate Central. Today, we're going to be taking a look at the official launch out of early access for Stormgate. So, those of you who tried the game out some time ago, and we know how that launch went, let's not pussyfoot around it, right? It wasn't the launch that the developers wanted, I don't think it was the launch that the community wanted either, but I can tell you guys, they have made tons of headway between then and now, the past year or so, getting the game up to snuff, and it's now basically out of early access. Now, a bit of a caveat here, that is not to say that everything in the game is completely finished. Far from it, there are things still in development, but I want to go over everything that's on offer here for you guys and just make it absolutely clear what's finished and sort of ready to play and what is still early access and in development. So, as we come here onto the home screen, you're going to notice first of all we've got some new artwork going off here in the background. Here you've got your learn to play section and the coming soon section, but the biggest takeaway is that you'll see it says Stormgate Campaign 1 Ashes of Earth, and this is the first campaign coming for Stormgate. So this is a full 12 mission campaign. It's the Vanguard campaign. I've played the first 6 missions and I can really say it has improved a ton since when early access came out, which I think is when a lot of you guys will have last played it. I haven't played the last 6 missions and I won't be showing you guys too much campaign stuff because I don't want to spoil you if you want to come in and play it, but I know you can find videos on YouTube of that sort of thing. So basically what they've done here is they've split the game up into 2 sections. Anything that is under play here is out of early access and like ready for you guys to experience and enjoy. So we have the full campaign here. There's all 12 missions. I know they do plan to bring more missions in the future, and you do have to buy some of these. I think they give you the first 3 missions absolutely free, so you can try out chapter 0 here for free, and then if you like what you've played, you can decide to purchase the rest of them in the store. Then of course we have the versus mode, and this mode is probably one of the ones that has seen the most amount of changes over the past year. So for anybody who's not been keeping up to date with the game, they've redone a lot of the models for the Vanguard and for the Infernals. I know that the Celestials have yet to come. They're still a bit of a work in progress, like they haven't finished all of the different models, but just in this patch now, they have started chipping away at the mechanics of the Celestial race, because as far as you understand it, I know a lot of people weren't keen on them, like they found them a little bit too confusing, and overall didn't really like the aesthetic either, right? We hear people talking about there's too many triangles and stuff like that. But what they've done with the Infernals and the Vanguard, and I will put some footage on screen for you guys a little bit later in the video, is very good. So 1v1, you can definitely jump straight in there. There's going to be a ladder reset today, so you know, if you're a new player, you're basically going to be on like an even playing ground with everybody else. Do be aware there are pros there, and speaking of going up against pros, if you don't feel quite ready to hop into 1 versus 1, you can go in the AI Skirmish instead. And I think this has actually been done really, really well. So you can just go against one of the 3 factions here, choose your difficulty, choose the map that you want to play, but they've also added some of the enemy heroes essentially from the co-op mode. So for example here, we've got Major Galt, which any of you guys who have played co-op, you'll be familiar with him. He's got a bunch of different abilities here. Here you can check out the units that he has, and then he also has enemy perks, and you can choose like up to brutal difficulty. So if you are a player who enjoys playing skirmishes against the computer, you're able to do that. And if you want to challenge yourself, and by the way, they've added now achievements to the game. I know they've added them at least for like the campaign, but I think maybe also for the AI Skirmish mode. So if you beat some of these guys on brutal, then you will probably like unlock some cool achievements and stuff. But other than that, it's obviously a nice and easy way to sort of just get used to the mechanics of the game. And that really leads us then on to Sigma Labs. So Sigma Labs, as you can tell here, it says Stormgate is in active development. The Sigma Labs contains experimental and upcoming features and game modes. Enter with caution. So this is basically to make it absolutely crystal clear to everybody that what is in Sigma Labs is a work in progress. That part of the game is essentially still like, okay, I guess it's not called early access anymore, but near enough. It's not done, so don't go in there like thinking this is the finished product. And we've got co-op in there. I know they put co-op on the back burner for a while now because they wanted to concentrate on really directing all of their resources and their manpower and everything into getting like the 1 versus 1 done, into getting the first campaign out for you guys. And so co-op has kind of taken a bit of a back seat, as has the custom games. And that's not to say these things don't work, right? You can still go in here, right? You create your custom game on, let's say, Boneyard, for example, I'm in like an early client here, so nobody is going to join my lobby. They've also recently added a chat here, like into the lobby, so you can talk to people in there and converse with them. One thing I'd really like to see them do is actually add like an in-game chat. So I think here when you're on the home screen, we could use this area for like an in-game chat with different channels, similar how you have in StarCraft and other RTS games. You know, maybe you don't have to then go to Discord, right? And then, of course, we have the editor. So this is going to be available to everybody now. Anybody who wants is going to be able to jump in here and start making maps. It is still a work in progress. There are a lot of things yet to be added to it, such as triggers. So if you really want to make some in-depth and serious scenarios, it is going to be hard unless you really have a lot of map making know-how. But I'm super excited to see what comes out of the community, because I know there's already been like a ton of interesting things. And one of the coolest things about this editor is if you just click Open Editor, it's a separate program, essentially, right? But it opens it right from within the game, and boom, here you are. And now you can start messing around, creating a map. I am like not even going to try and create a map here, guys, because I am no map editor. I can tell you that. I'm certainly no modder. But once you're done messing around, you can save your maps and everything, of course. Exit, hit no, and then it just goes straight back to the game. I think that's really awesome, because that means you can create a map, you can save it, go straight back to the game, and then open it up in the game and actually play it and trial it out, right? And see what you need to change there. So I just cannot wait to see what the community can do, because whilst Frost Giant have limited time, limited manpower, limited resources, the people who play the game sort of don't, you know. Depending on how many people jump in here, we could actually see something really special. Now, up in the corner, they've actually added a bit of player progression. So on the actual Steam icon I have here on my G, this is your account level. So the more you play the game, like whatever you do in the game, co-op, you know, single player, campaign, doesn't matter, your level is going to increase. And this is just going to be like an indicator of how much, I suppose, somebody's really played the game. And then down here for the 3 factions, this is not like how many wins you have or anything like that. It's basically just like, what kind of a player are you? So the more you play, let's say Celestial, whatever game mode it may be, whether it's co-op, whether it's 1 versus 1, etc., you are going to like level up as the Celestial. So that's a way you can see, okay, what kind of a player is this? Are they an Infernal player? Are they a Vanguard player? Maybe they play all 3 races equally. And if you right click, you can go open profile. Here you can actually see your points, your MMR, your win-loss ratio for all 3 races. And then if we go back and we go customize player card, there is a little bit of self-expression in here now. So there aren't too many player cards at the moment, but again, caveat, this is like an early build. So perhaps when you guys get your hands on the actual official build that comes out today, you'll have a few more of them. But this is obviously just the beginning, right? They could add a lot more of these, maybe stuff, you know, in collaboration with content creators or something cool like that. I don't know, whatever you guys want, they could add it in there. Now, outside of just the campaign, they've also added in achievements. So as an example here, on mission number 1, Ghosts of the Past, the first achievement is to complete the mission on brutal difficulty. The second one says locate the secret stash in the mission Ghost of the Past. And then the third one says unnatural selection, kill the incarnate on the mission. So I think that's nice. It offers another level of replayability, right? No longer do you just do the mission on normal and you're done. You can do it on brutal. You can try and unlock all of the achievements. I know a lot of people like doing that sort of stuff from other RTS games, so it's really nice to see it in Stormgate as well. Now, if you guys do come in and try out the game and you decide, for example, you want to purchase like the campaign, each of the 3 paid campaign chapters is actually getting a 10% price reduction. So that's not like too uncommon with games. You'll often see these days they release, you get like a small discount if you buy them close to the release date, often if you pre-order them, in fact. That's not the case here, though. They're basically just giving you a flat 10% off of the campaign chapters. And also, all heroes are going to have 15% off as a temporary offer due to Team Mayhem being unavailable. So this is one of the works in progress. Team Mayhem is going to be the 3v3 mode. It's not in Sigma Labs yet, but it will be coming soon. And then once it's like ready, that is sort of the flow that things are going to go through, right? They're going to eventually end up in Sigma Labs for testing, and then they'll get out of Sigma Labs and moved over to the left side there and sort of put into the final game. So if you're somebody who just says, hey, I just want to play like finished, polished experiences, I don't have time for bugs and beta testing, then I would say stay away from Sigma Labs. But if you like that kind of thing like I do, then it's nice that we get the opportunity to do that as well. Now, there are a ton of balance changes that have gone into this update as well. I'm not going to go over all of them in this video. I know Beowulf always goes over all of the balance updates, and he's really in tune with the balance, so I'm going to link his video down below for anybody interested in that. I'm not going to lie to you guys, I've not been playing a lot of Stormgate. I've basically just been waiting for the game to get in a decent state, for players to come back, for it really just to sort of take off before I delve in, like, as a content creator. And I've really enjoyed what I've played so far, so I think that moment might finally be here. But I do just want to touch on some of the changes that are coming to the Celestials. As I mentioned at the start of the video, the aesthetic changes, they're not coming yet, but really what they're trying to do is revamp like the way that the race plays, so it's a little bit less convoluted and confusing, I suppose. So, for example, now, arc ships will now function more like traditional command structures found in other factions. They produce workers, relocate, and cast faction support abilities. Collection arrays have been significantly streamlined, they no longer act as pseudo-command centers, and all of their abilities have been removed. Prisms are now aligned with standard worker behavior across factions. Up to 12 can mine with each Luminite mine, and then the Therium Purifier has been removed. Prisms now harvest Therium directly without needing to return it anywhere. So essentially what they've done here is really, streamlined the Celestials and made them a lot more similar to the other two races in the way that they harvest materials and just the way they play in general. But one of the interesting things here is that morph cores are no longer produced by arc ships. Instead, most Celestial structures now have an ability called matter reallocation, allowing them to refund most of their cost and transform into a morph core. And it says this enables flexible repositioning or conversion into other structures. So if you think back to StarCraft, and the way you could build like a tech lab on a barracks, and then maybe have the barracks float away and the factory come in and make use of that tech lab again, and then go build like a reactor with the barracks. It sounds a little bit similar here. Maybe you're going to be able to produce a structure, maybe do like an early game strategy, and then you turn those structures from what it sounds like into a morph core, and then you can create new structures with those morph cores in order to get more usage out of them. I think the possibilities there sound like they could be, I don't want to say endless, but pretty wide. Power nodes and link nodes have also been merged into a single structure that can freely morph between 3 key modes. So we've got Gracelight node, which gives healing, Energizer node, which restores energy, and then Judicator node, which is a defensive turret. The Aeon gates are now tier 2 structures built directly from the command panel, so they're no longer like a top bar ability. And then the power system has been simplified, and it no longer includes hidden benefits or effects. So if anybody who remembers like the power system, you basically, like, depending on if you have green power, red power, or yellow power, if you haven't built enough of these power banks, you would be under a number of penalties or buffs for the race. I think those weren't too obvious, especially if you're a new player. You don't really realize right off the bat, what does yellow power mean for me? What does green power mean for me? I mean, I want to be in the green, probably, yeah, that kind of makes sense, but what is it actually doing? I think it was a little bit hard to understand for the newcomer, so basically they're simplifying that. The power banks have now been merged with the link nodes, which were like the defensive turret for the Celestials, and they're just going to be like the same one that provides, as I've already said, healing, energy, or it can just be a turret. So pretty interesting stuff. I think you'll agree, if you're somebody who maybe jumped on the game a year ago and you just wrote it off straight away, you said, you know what, like, this isn't for me, the gameplay is just too janky, or I don't like the art, or whatever the case may have been, I really recommend coming back and giving the game another look. It is free to play, it's not going to cost you a dime. This is not sponsored before anybody says it, and I know there'll be people in the comments saying, oh, well, Ghost, this channel is called Stormgate Central, so of course you're biased, right? You want the game to do well, so your channel can do well. And that's fair enough, right? But bear in mind, I play tons of other games. I have another YouTube channel, I cover FPS games there, I cover other RTSs on this channel, and I'm really just telling you guys, like, as a player, I've been keeping up to date with Stormgate over the past year, and the amount of changes they've put in here, and really managed to get in the space of a year, is nothing short of mind-boggling to me. I don't really know, like, how they've done this with such a small team, but I really just implore you to come back and give it another look, especially if you're a campaign player and you just didn't think it was up to snuff. Like, we know how it was, right? The voice acting was not good. The characters weren't good. The missions themselves were not particularly impressive. It is a lot better now, guys. So Give it a try. Let me know in the comments what you think of it. As always, if you enjoyed the video, leaving a like down below is appreciated as well. Subscribe to stay up to date with everything, not just Stormgate, but I'll also be covering other RTS games as well. And I hope you guys go and have fun. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.